If you couldn't tell what today's dish is, I'll give you one hint.
Potatoes.
So today I'm going to take on those fondant potatoes, the dish everyone makes and loves. Starting here with some russet potatoes. Going to cut the ends off just so they're easier to work with. The goal here is to make nice cylinders. I'm going to then have these just so I can push the mold through easier and use one of these small cookie cutter ring molds. They're a little hard to use, so when you get them in, you got to trim around the sides of them like this. It's the only way to really pass it through unless you have a longer one. But do that, you're going to get this really nice cylinder shape. Pop it through, obviously got to bounce it onto the floor, otherwise they don't work. And then you trim them up nicely. You want them all generally the same size, but based on the potatoes you're using, that's not going to be possible. So just try to make them fairly uniform. Put them in water for about 5 minutes. You're just trying to wash off as much starch as you can. Make sure they're fully submerged. You're going to have a bunch of extra potatoes, so use those for like hash browns or something. Then you're going to heat up a pan on the side. I'm using vegetable oil just so it can get hotter, but we are going to take the oil out, so it's not there for taste. We're also going to need some chicken stock, some thyme, and not pictured here, some butter and garlic. I'm going to put these into a sheet pan though because my oven is currently broken, so I have to use these in a toaster oven. So that step is going to be not what you guys necessarily need. Dry your potatoes off. Water and oil do not mix well. You don't need splatter everywhere. This will just make your life so much easier. Take them out and dry them. When you put them in the pan here, also think of, you want to put the final presentation side up facing down. So get those all in. After about 3 or 4 minutes, you can see nothing's happening. The goal here is a beautiful brown kind of Maillard reaction. Another 5 minutes or so. They're almost getting there. Maybe it hasn't been 5 minutes. It's been 3-4 minutes. Finally, you get them right where you want them. This is the look you're going for. They almost look like scallops. These are just perfectly browned. So I'm going to pull those out. You also don't need to do this part, but you're going to clean off that pan of excess oil, and then you're going to add in the butter. Once you put the butter in and froth it up a little bit, add those potatoes back in the other side down. You're going to let that warm. Then you're also going to add 1 cup of stock. I use chicken stock. I think it works the best, but you can use any sort of stock you want, and that's just the taste it's going to impart. Pour that into the pan here. For me, everything's going to go into the oven. I add in a full head of garlic split in half, and here a little bit of thyme. You can omit any parts you want. I just think this is how everyone makes it, and then I'm going to put it in. Currently it's at around 400, but I'm going to raise this up to 425, and you're going to cook those for about 25 minutes. A little test I like to do to see how they're getting. Some people use a knife, but I like to use a fork. If that fork doesn't slide in all the way perfectly, you need to put them in for a little longer. So this was after about 20 minutes, so I now wind up cooking them for another 5 minutes or so. At that point, when I pull them out, they're perfect, they're buttery. You still will need a knife kind of to cut these unless you really cook them down to the point where they're falling apart, but I don't recommend that. Plating wise, this is just getting a little fancy because I'm bored, but pull out your 3 best looking ones onto a nice rectangular plate. I think that's what perfectly fits this dish. And this just looks really nice. It's, thumbnail quality right there, man. As you can see, they are a little hard to cut through still, but the inside breaks beautifully. Cook them with a little bit of that garlic head that's left over, and really enjoy these. These are a phenomenal dish. They're delicious, easy. Let me know what you guys think.